Welcome to the August 3rd, 2021 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince, and can I just say, that was a very august introduction.
You didn't wait for me to give you an answer of whether you can say
I said it was august, it was a pun. Are you have a problem with puns now? Is this how this is going to start? This is how we're starting our August?
Sidebar. I asked my wife whether it would be okay if we named our kid Augustus Gloop, and she turned us down.
Yeah, you know what? After the chili and pepper fiasco, I don't think she'd be willing to let you name anything.
Well, I think puns are cute with pets, but not so much children.
It's not a pun, but would his first name be Augustus Gloop, and there's just no middle name?
I was thinking a middle name.
Okay, I'm thinking in school, like...
hyphenated first name, Augustus Gloop.
Yeah, I'm thinking like in school, like, and now for our next student, last name, Augustus Gloop? All one word? Yes, ma'am. That's what my parents did to me.
The Bold.
Augustus the Gloop Bold.
No, the Bold.
Alright.
That's not even my last name, but...
It is now.
Oh, man. So you could tell this is a light news day.
That wasn't the news? I thought it was significant that you're naming your child, or now failing to name your child.
Oh, man. I rolled a natural one.
Think of a name. Augustus Gloop? Idiot!
I could have gone anywhere else. Even Charlie Bucket is better than that.
Hook, Long John Silver, Blackbeard, Bluebeard. No.
Library. The Gotham Library. So anyway. This seems very kind of stupid, but there hasn't been any third-party, like, internal storage, like, expansion options here for the PS5 yet. So it's actually really interesting. The Seagate confirms that they have their first PS5 compatible SSD.
Yeah, and can I just say I'm very pleased about this, because not so much like, oh, I love the brand or whatever, but like I'm glad that Sony learned from their mistake after pulling that proprietary memory bullshit with the Vita, which, by the way, really bit them in the ass, because you can buy an adapter for a generic SD card for, like, I think literally like $1 or $2.
Yeah.
Instead of paying exorbitant prices for specifically Vita memory cards.
This has literally bit them in the ass, like, in every one of their, like, empires. I mean, like, they make really nice, like, handy cams and things like that.
Yeah.
But, like, they were a long time required the same memory stick as, like, the PSP, the memory stick Duo. And, like, people just keep getting tired of that shit.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, with the memory stick, I don't think anybody complained about it being proprietary, but they were just like, memory sticks are stupid.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's just like other companies use the generic ones that are much cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, come on. So, yeah, it's cheaper, and I mean, I know this is exactly what Sony does not want, but you could just go to the store and get them from anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you stop like alienating your customers, then they'll be more willing to come back. Maybe you won't get every single memory card purchase you wanted, but you won't get active backlash either.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd much rather buy, like, a Samsung Handycam these days if they're requiring, like, a proprietary memory format. But, yeah, so it's $170 for half a terabyte for 500 gigs. $275 for 1 terabyte, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And $570 for 2 terabytes, which is also fucked.
Actually,
and the coup de grace, 4 terabytes for $1,050. In case you wanted to buy a storage solution that costs twice as much as your fucking console.
Yeah, but you know what's weird is, like, going from 500 gigs to a terabyte, that's a deal, right? 275 is not twice 170. But the 2 terabytes, isn't it? It's like it just is twice as much for twice as much. Like, okay, I guess. And same goes for going to 4 terabytes. It's twice as much for twice as much. Like, it might even be a couple bucks more.
It's so stupid. I just don't like terabytes do not cost this much these days.
Well, no,
I get that it's an SSD, but and probably like a special kind, but like fuck off with the shit. Like,
yeah.
I'd rather have an external solution hooked up to it that is much cheaper.
And actually, no, I am mistaken. If you go from 1 terabyte to 2 or 2 to 4, it is cheaper, but by like $10 or $15 or whatever. Like the real deal is going from 500 gigs to 1 terabyte.
The real deal is not buying a PS5 right now.
No, I know. Like every game on it's like when the PS4 first launched, where they were simultaneously releasing PS3 and PS4 titles. Except the difference here is that the PS4 discs can just go in the PS5.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can download and upgrade if you want. But yeah, the PS5 has literally 3 games that I give a damn about that are exclusive to it. And it's way expensive, and you can't get one anyway. So, like, fuck it. I mean, with a lot of consoles, I wait years because I just want a discount. But here, like, what are you doing? Do you want to play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart that badly? Like, those games are generally kind of short.
Yeah, I mean, I want to play Returnal, Dark Souls, and or Demon Souls. And,
Demon Souls. Well, that's another thing. I want to play Demon Souls, but that's a remake of a game that I beat a decade ago. Miles Morales is on PS4, and Returnal, it might be better now, but that game did not have a great launch. It didn't even have like a save function in the middle of it, and it's a fucking roguelike where like one run is multiple hours.
Yeah, but people really love it now. So.
Well, yeah, now that they made it not stupid, yeah. But like, if you had gotten it on day one, you would have been in for an unpleasant surprise.
I mean, that's day one with anything really anymore.
Yeah, but this wasn't like, oh man, we gotta patch this. Like there was a flaw we didn't think about. This was like actively like, this is how we want the game to be, which is unreasonable for most people to play. A roguelike that doesn't have a save function in the middle, and not even like so you can.
I mean anything these days without a. That doesn't have a save function.
And we don't mean save scumming either. We mean like in Isaac, where you turn off the game and turn it back on so you could resume from where you were. Like, it's not a save. It's more like it just doesn't kill your run by going away. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was dumb as shit.
It's dumb. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm honestly waiting. I wish I could get a PS5. I can't even buy one if I wanted to. But I have the okay to buy one. I just can't buy one.
See you in 4 years when the thing doesn't fucking cost, and it has. It's just like what I said about the PS4. Like, I'll wait till it has games on it.
I'm actually going to. I'm mostly thinking I want to wait until like the hardware redesign.
Yeah, there's always a hardware redesign, and with very few exceptions, it's always an improvement.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes. You lose features, so I'm
that's
worried
the thing.
About that.
Yeah, the original Wii lost backwards compatibility after a point, but like everything else just got better. I mean, I know you can argue the PS3 lost backwards compatibility, but the revision also like
fixed it.
Worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hooray! I can play PS2 games. Oh no, I can't because I yellow lighted. Like it doesn't make a difference.
Xbox 360 basically just got better.
Oh, well, I mean, that was one of the most disastrous console launches I've ever seen. And I don't mean, like, the Saturn, where it was outright sabotaged and, like, stores didn't get it, but I mean, like, the console didn't fucking work.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was, like, literally a 50-50 of whether your console would just break down.
Yeah, no, I had to send my console in once because of a red ring.
Yeah.
So thankfully, it hasn't done it since then, but I have wanted one of those redesigned consoles for quite a while. The Xbox One did lose its Kinect direct port, but
oh, that's funny because remember when it launched, they were really pushing the Kinect.
Yeah, but PS2 lost its Fire Link.
Oh, the Fire, yeah, where you can hook up. I mean, it was like every one of these things has a different name, but it's like, wow, come on, like a link cable to another system.
Yeah,
but like. who gives a shit? Like, what was that good for? Time Crisis 2?
Yeah, there's like about like 3 games that use
Yeah.
it.
Like, all of those abilities are cool to show off on a YouTube video 10 years later. Did you know you could play Virtual
Now that
On
I
with
can
2
afford
Saturns? Yeah.
Now that I can actually afford 2 Saturns and 2
Yeah,
games of,
now that you
and
have
2
2
GPUs.
Saturns and 2 TVs, I could show you this multiplayer game of Virtual On. It's funny, even Armored Core, like, the manual is like, if you have 2 PS1s, you can have 2 TVs with Armored Core Versus, which is actually pretty cool, but nobody's doing that.
Yeah. It's just something me and you would do one Saturday, one time.
Yeah, for 20 minutes. Look, this is a thing that is technically possible. That even back in the day, no one did, because even if your friend brought their PS1 over, you have 2 TVs in the same damn room? What is this?
It's like a 16-player, like a LAN,
Yeah, Mario Kart Double Dash.
Mario Kart Double
Yeah,
Dash.
you do that at MagFest and nowhere else because there's a giant warehouse with things set up specifically for gimmicks.
Or Steel Battalion. Steel Battalion is like that.
Yeah, it's cool as shit, but nobody's doing that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, like you said, cool, but like, what the hell?
Yeah. Did you know that you could hook up 2 game comms? Or no, well, actually, maybe that is true, but you could hook up 2 Tiger 99Xs. Cool. I don't even have one. There's no way I'm finding someone else who has one. Or or Vice.
Baseball 2000 can be 16-player on a Game Boy, something like that.
Oh Jesus! No, or the Neo Geo Pocket Color, where like most of the games were designed with multiplayer in mind, but no one had a Neo Geo Pocket Color. Even you didn't, and you did.
I didn't have one until it died.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I was their target audience.
Yeah. Oh, do you also have a Neo Geo Pocket Color and Samurai Showdown 2? Like, get the hell out of here.
And a Wormlight.
Yeah.
Remember Wormlights?
Nope.
They're like the little light you could jam into like the link.
Port, like the desk lamp kind of thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Little adjustable light.
Yeah, so you could play it in the car at night. When your mom's driving you somewhere.
Mom,
I'm trying to beat KOF card battle or whatever the fuck.
I know you have to pay your bail bond.
What?
I'm playing Link's Awakening.
Okay.
But anyway, enough about my childhood trauma.
Yeah. Okay. Don't lousy traumatic childhood.
Could you imagine my mom getting arrested?
Yeah, that's like, what the fuck? I'm just thinking of The Simpsons. You're dumb as a mule and twice as ugly. If a stranger offers you a ride, I say take it. Oh.
Man, Grandpa Simpson, brutal.
Yeah.
You were an accident.
That actually was supposed to.
Things
yeah, that was not supposed to be funny.
Yeah, no, that was like one of the most dramatic moments that ever happened on the show.
Just think of what he said on your wedding day. If you ever go back in time, don't touch anything. Even the slightest change can have repercussions in ways you couldn't possibly imagine. That was his advice on his wedding day.
That was a non-canonical conversation.
That was his advice from his father on his wedding day. It's amazing.
It's like my dad always told me. Eventually, everyone gets shot. Anyway, so King of Fighters.
Oh, there's a King of Fighters game? What?
King of Fighters is increasingly getting cool characters and characters that everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
So
again, this is a classic. Athena Asamaya, she's been around forever. But what's actually more interesting, I think, than the fact that it's Athena herself, I didn't mention this before, but KOF, I don't know if they've always necessarily had it, but they've had it for a long time, where you pick 3 characters to be on your team, but there are
certain games that are team focused.
Yeah, there are teams that have names.
Yeah.
Like for example, a lot of games had the female team, and it was Mai, Yuri, and King, stuff like that. Yeah. But there have been some like subversions to what you thought the teams would be, and even the names. Like I think Vanessa's part of like Team Secret Agent or something really weird, and I was like, what? So Athena has joined Mai and Yuri, but the female team has changed up their lineup a little bit over the years, but now it's the superheroine team. But like Athena's like actually a superheroine, and I know the other characters are fighting game characters, so they can all shoot ki and fire and stuff. but someone in the comments section said that the logic was probably that Athena is like a big representative of, like, she had her own game like way back on the SNK, I think, or well, she's never mind, she's an SNK character, but she had a game way back on some really like old system that I forgot what it was. Psycho
Athena,
Soldier?
Athena was originally an arcade game.
Yeah, and there's also Psycho Soldier.
Psycho Soldier is the sequel.
Okay.
So this Athena is a different Athena, but she is like a reincarnation of that original.
Oh, fair enough. Speaking of which, by the way, she got a haircut.
Yeah. She actually looks really cool.
Yeah. So Athena's,
but she's also like one of the like if you had
she's
to
an
pick
OG.
like if you had to pick a mascot of the company, like Athena's like one of them.
Yeah, she's up there. Well, similarly, like Yuri is the first big like playable female character in well, I don't know. Maybe she ties with the first, but for Art of Fighting, there's King and there's Yuri. King was not playable in story mode of the first game because it was just Rio or Robert. But then Yuri, who was the damsel in distress in the first game, and King became playable in the second game. So Yuri is the representative this time, and Mai is the big female representative of Fatal Fury. So I guess maybe that's what they're going for. So it's just kind of interesting. So we have Team Superheroine. Like, okay, just changing it up.
They're basically pretty much the most popular female characters of the franchise.
Yeah, they're way up there. I mean, we do have other characters like Leona, but she's definitely with the military boys like Ralph and Clark and stuff like that. Yeah.
They're the ones that don't normally have a theme that are also very popular.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. So, excited for that. I mean, they're breaking out all the classics. I mean, I really Rock is in the current one. I don't see why he wouldn't be in this one, but he's frequently left out, and I hope he's in this one.
Yeah, so far they've been introducing character after character who you'd expect, except for, I guess, Tizak, who is now the king of the dinosaurs, which is the coolest thing.
Yeah, no, Tizak is also like a real... I just love the Marco Wolf's characters, so anytime that they bring them back in any way, I just thought that their character designs were just really, really cool.
I just want to hear that announcer voice, Kushnude butt, when that guy shows up again.
I don't think he will ever be called that.
Somehow, I don't think so. Yeah.
Ever be called that ever again.
Why, I don't know why you think that, but I guess we'll just agree to disagree.
He is Marco Rodriguez. That makes much more sense. That is still one of the things that I really wish they just told us what had happened there.
Yeah. Well, there was like that era of games. Like, I don't remember what it might have been. SVC Chaos or something. But they just really went full ham with some of the victory quotes in those games just to be silly. Like where Akuma was like, beating you was easier than beating up a baby. Not that I'd ever do that. And you're like, okay. Or like...
you didn't need to tell me that.
Yeah, or like my favorite by far, like Mr. Ryu showed this to me and I laughed until I almost cried, was Genjiro from Samurai Showdown. He has like a specific line, I think, for beating Chun-Li, which doesn't even connect to her directly, but he says, I am a necessary evil in this cuckoo nutty world. It's like, what? And cuckoo is spelled Kookoo. Like, what is this? It's the silliest
that's a Marco Wolf's, right?
Well, no, it's I think it's SVC Chaos, because Genjiro's from Samurai Showdown.
That was the same era, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That era of games was just like, what?
that was right around when SNK was about to fold, like the original incarnation of it. Yeah. So it may be possible that like only one person in the entire company knew English well enough to do that stuff.
Well, I mean, Akuma's line about being up a baby, maybe they went a little silly with it, but cuckoo nutty, there is a 0% chance that was a translation.
No. So what I'm thinking is maybe, there's just like one rogue employee and nobody can check him. So
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, someone's just like, what are they gonna do? Fire me? This company's dead.
Exactly. There's just one guy who knows English and that's it.
Yeah, I'll do what I want.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I think Kushnude butt came from.
It's like in JoJo All-Star Battle, like you're tearing me apart, Lisa. Like they're just That was not the original Japanese, but you can't pass up that opportunity.
Nah.
Also, speaking of passing up opportunities, I noticed something. Someone had posted like a supercut from Project Cross Zone 2 of Axel from Streets of Rage, his unique lines. And there was one, like, because every time he interacts with characters, they give winks to their respective games. Like, a swordsman is like, actually, you fight barehanded? And he's like, well, I'm pretty good with pipes and boards, but they always break on me. And like, how hard are you swinging those things? And stuff like that, which is just kind of funny. But there's one line where like he's with two motivational characters, and they're like, we're gonna push our way forward and make it to the end or whatever. And Axel's subtitles say something like that. Like, yes, we're gonna go forward, but you can very obviously hear in Japanese he's shouting, go straight. And I understand that like doesn't quite make full sense in English, but like that's the name of the song from the game. They should have kept that.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Someone must have just missed the 25-year-old reference.
All right. Well, we should move on. I'll let you break this one because you of course were talking about this a while during the week, and obviously this is a topic that we have to readdress because it keeps going on. But
yeah, this was the Activision Blizzard thing getting sued. More evidence has come out just against Blizzard and Activision Blizzard itself and how shitty they are. And I think at this point even Riot Games is getting involved with participating in this shit, and there's probably others. But they were at some con like a decade ago. It was like 2013 or 14 or something, maybe 2013, where they were like, they had some suite that they like nicknamed the Cosby room, and they had a picture of Bill Cosby, and they're just like, there's a picture of them posing with him. And I think this was at the point where people like the news had come out about Cosby. Yeah, like if it wasn't hinted at before.
Reference to assault.
Yeah, like you don't just do that randomly, like decades after his show had been relevant. So it's just more bad news for them. There was a whole big walkout for Blizzard employees, and like their stock has dropped, like last I checked, like 7% or something really significant. And now the latest news that I'm aware of anyway is that Blizzard is trying to team up with a union busting firm, which is just doubling down on being shitty. And again, I think the head of Riot is, I don't think he's involved in this lawsuit, but like he's coming under fire as well for also being shitty, because this is a case where like, yeah, we knew Blizzard was shitty before this. Yeah, we knew Riot was shitty before this, but like this is just more fuel to the fire.
Yeah, it really speaks a lot that they're just so disingenuous about like their actual like apologies or actions.
Well, of course, if they actually felt bad about whatever it was, then like they wouldn't have waited until they were attacked to do anything about it. Like they would have probably dealt with it within the company without making a public spectacle of it. But now they're getting blasted, so they're like, I'm sorry that I was caught. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't.
If something goes bad in the company, you don't need to like wait for it to just completely explode before trying to solve a problem. But they don't see it as a problem. They just are aware that other people do.
What it really sounds like to me is the board of directors really should fire Bobby Kotick, because like a lot of this stems from like the top in terms of like corporate culture.
That's the thing. It's not even like your manager's an asshole, but like corporate doesn't know. Like this is corporate.
Yeah, no, they know. They made it that way.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. These people, they are well aware of their problems because they keep track of it in order to make sure that they don't get sued. So like they are well aware of their cultural issues, and they are choosing to ignore it. That's what HR departments do. HR departments are actually they try to convince you as an employee that they are a way to resolve your issues, but they're not. They are there to protect the company from further litigation. So
if you have that's the thing. If you have a real problem, they may solve it if that incidentally works out for the company. But like if there's something that's not big enough to be a real problem, they'll be like, I don't know if there's anything I can do or whatever.
More than likely, it'll actually backfire on
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, yeah, because that you report it to somebody, and then it's not enough to get them in trouble, but now they know that you know, and they'll give you crap for it.
Well, usually your superior is like worth more to the company than you are.
Exactly.
So they will more than likely defend their superior, even if they are completely in the wrong.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. If it's somebody under you, well, that's different. But the HR wants you to be able to fire whoever you want because you're tightening up the belt.
Yeah, that sure does make the problem go away.
Also, we don't have to pay this person anymore.
Yes.
We can hire for somebody, or not even hire anybody at all.
That's true. Yeah.
We can hire somebody new at a much cheaper price.
Yep.
It's just one of those things. So, I have nothing but contempt for this shit. They were never a good company. I really hated it when they bought Blizzard.
Activision, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, Activision. Blizzard was at one time a cool hip company.
Yeah.
So was Activision. Activision was the original dissenter, right? They were the first third-party company to make video games. So they were the people that got sick and tired of working at Atari and not getting any credit or any residuals, and they started their own company. And I don't know if you knew this, Lotus, but the reason why their name is Activision is so that it would show up first in the yellow pages.
That's clever, because AC.
Yeah.
Why didn't they call themselves Aardvark Tari?
They actually had successive companies that did things like that, like Accolade.
Okay.
Like they actually went even higher than that. In terms of first in the list or whatever.
Fair enough.
They specifically did that so Atari would somebody would pass over them before they would get to the name Atari.
That's clever.
So, yeah. It is something that does not work these days.
When you type in the word that you want, yeah.
Exactly. But this is just shitty, gigantic corporation bullshit. This is the kind of stuff that Amazon would do to you, like any really big, gigantic, faceless corporation. They're gonna do this. This kind of shit. So it's shitty all around, and it's not a good look. In fact, all this stuff is backfiring on them.
Well, that's the thing that kills
me now is eating crow.
Well, that's the thing that kills me right now is with this walkout, they're trying to talk to a union busting firm. They're just doubling down on we know we're shitty, but what are you gonna do about it, bitch?
They should just let them do the walkout. In fact, and say hey, we actually support the walkout. Go for it.
That's the whole thing. But instead, they're just nobody who tries to union bust ends up looking good, even if it works.
Well, the union busting thing is something that they should do during a different time. Also, this is a bad time to be doing it.
Doubling down on two immediate bad things in a row. Well, not bad things in a row, but bad news stories in a row.
Yeah, this. But part of the push for unionization, I'm sure, is how the female employees have been getting taken advantage of. So, they should be unionizing. There's with the union, there are protections against this kind of thing. Not that there aren't already them, but you also have somebody else mitigating. So, it's just a mess. Let's get back to more fun stuff, shall we? This is a cool thing, and also not something that Capcom mention or acknowledges very often. It's like an occasional thing. You go, oh, thank you, you acknowledged it again. But Amaterasu from Okami is being added to Monster Hunter Rise as part of something that you can do in there. I believe there's special loot having to go with it. I'm sure there's an enemy that you get to fight alongside with Amaterasu. But yeah, or maybe, I'm not exactly sure what the content is like, but it's still neat. Okami is one of those things that I really just wish they would make another game. they keep porting the PS2 game.
Yeah, there's the original one, and there was that one DS game, Okami Den, that nobody knows about, and that's it. The last time I saw Konami an original property was Tatsunoko vs. Capcom.
Yeah, exactly. And they just keep porting like the Wii version of the PS2 game. So, at this point, not that that's a bad thing because that game is beautiful and wonderful, but just like give me a new one. Come on.
Yeah.
Like you keep porting the old one. Just come on. You keep coming out with like ports of the old one. You know, obviously that's working out for you because you keep doing it. So, like, come on. Like, give me a new one. Is it because the people who made it are now platinum? But I don't know. Moving on from that, I had a few games that I didn't even mention last week that like I really should have as like coming out like last week. But Ace Attorney, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, the collection of the 3DS like prequel.
The Sherlock Holmes era. Like literally Sherlock Holmes. I think you are Sherlock Holmes. Although the localization calls him Herlock Sholmes. Like
he is. Yeah. He is a third party character. He is a non-playable character.
Okay, I guess that makes sense because otherwise, like, he's supposed to be the guy who knows everything. So it'd be weird if you like didn't know what you're doing as Sherlock Holmes.
So I'm not entirely sure about this, but I'm pretty darn sure. But the introduction case, you know, the tutorial case that they always have to show you how to play the game, is actually about the murder of what looks to be a stand-in for Watson.
Okay. By the way, one thing I thought was really amusing, I saw somebody tweeting about this, is you know how there are a lot of like stupid pun names with the various characters? Well, this game, like it's a Japanese-only game, and I think they had something like English puns with the English names in their game, but I don't know how well that translated. But what was funny was that I saw one of the names was a Japanese-looking name that ends up being an English joke. Like, there was a guy whose name was, like, Kurio, like Kurio, and then, like, Kuroteka, but this guy was someone who has all sorts of weird antiques, so it's, like, Curio Kurekata, and it's
wow.
Are you fucking kidding me? It's not even, like, a pun, it's just what he is.
It's just really funny.
A Curio Kurekata.
Yeah.
It's not Kuroteka, it's Kurekata. It's like, my fucking god.
But I played like the first bit of that first trial, and I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, I've been a really big fan of Phoenix Wright ever since the Ace Attorney games, I guess I should say, since the first one.
Yeah, Phoenix Wright doesn't exist. He wasn't born.
Well, yeah, it's a prequel set in the same universe, that kind of thing. But also, pet peeve of mine, prequel is not the same thing as a predecessor. It is the portmanteau of predecessor and sequel. So
this is a prequel. It was made way later, and it takes place way earlier.
Predecessor is something that was made before that takes place before.
And by the way, you know what I don't like about prequels generally is that
low stakes.
Yeah, there can't be any real stakes because prequels have you usually playing as the same character. So if you meet new characters in this game, they're obviously not going to be relevant later in the timeline because you've never heard of them. So they're going to die, or it's like in Yakuza. I guarantee they're dead, or they're going to be in jail permanently. But
until some long forgotten sequel comes.
Yeah, until they come back in Yakuza 8. Remember me? I'm old now. What? But what I like about this prequel...
Remember this alien species in Star Wars that didn't exist until we added it, and now we have to add it to later ones?
Yeah, fuck you. But what I like about the Sherlock Holmes Phoenix Wright is that like it's 150 years earlier, so the fact that it's in the timeline is only incidental. Like anything could happen.
It's just gameplay style.
Like, anything could happen. Like, I mean, you're Phoenix Wright's ancestor. I guess you're gonna live, but I was never exactly afraid of the playable character dying anyway. So, and anything goes. This is a whole new universe. Like, it's not, but it is. So, it's a prequel, but it doesn't matter. So, I like that.
It's also a really interesting era in Japan. It is during the like the beginning of Western influence in Japan, like
Sure.
open Western influence. So it actually takes place maybe like a week or two after the first major treaty with England.
Oh, interesting.
So this is like the also like attorneys and judges, like the legal system, like a westernized legal system, a westernized and standardized legal system is very new as well. So lawyers don't even have respect yet.
Yeah. Because who is this guy? This isn't how we do things.
And also, like, who the hell are you? You're just in school. Like, this is just a brand new thing.
That's true. Yeah.
So like, also like, you know, there's also like a lot of political pressure, and since it's like in the past, like it's less standardized, you know. It's much easier for corruption to happen.
Yeah, it can really shake things up.
Yeah, so it's a really I really like the setting. I think it's really cool, and I do like that there's Sherlock Holmesy stuff in there.
I mean, it just makes me think of even like, I don't remember what century this took place in, but like the Crucible, where trials were just like bullshit and people yelling at each other.
1600s, the late
1600s. Yeah, but it's just a bunch of bullshit, and they're like, that's evidence. And like, okay.
Yeah, no, they clearly just want to kill you and need to have some justification to do it.
Yeah, and it's flimsy, and I think most people probably know it, but what are you gonna do about it?
I mean, to some degree, that's still a problem, but it's better than it ever was, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I know. Like, I mean, I know this is just a play. But I'm thinking the Crucible, what's that? The influence of Satan coming into this room right now? And the audience is like, oh, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, really?
Well, I mean, the Crucible was an obvious allegory to current
the communist, what was that called? The Red Scare?
Yeah, the blacklisting stuff that was going on in America, you know, that kind of stuff. But, I really like this. Also, the original trilogy of the Ace Attorney games is on the Switch, so I hope eventually that they bring like the fourth game, which is probably my favorite. I really love the fourth game.
They only ever do the trilogy.
What was that?
Yeah, they only ever do the trilogy. Like, the fact that they're doing the Great Ace Attorney is a huge step, so maybe this will pave the way for future past games.
Well, what they could do is they could call the next one the
Apollo Justice,
the Apollo Justice trilogy, because he's not the complete star of the two games after, but he is a protagonist and playable character in both of them. So they kind of combine Phoenix Wright and Apollo Justice after that point. So there are two 3DS games that they haven't brought back, and there's also
the two Edgeworth games.
Yeah,
and one of them was never localized either.
Yeah, exactly. And there's one more game I'm missing.
Well, the Ace Attorney Cross Layton.
Yeah, the Layton one.
I mean,
I don't see that one coming.
Yeah, good luck with that, but I would love for that to be brought to a home console.
Yeah, so they have plenty of material to still bring, and I think it's selling well. So hopefully they'll keep at it, and maybe we'll even get a new game. These are new to us, but they are not new games. I'm just really happy because we missed out on these.
Yeah, well, especially these two. These two are maybe the most significant because we wanted to localize these but couldn't because of rights issues. So I'm glad that was resolved.
Exactly. So, I'm really looking forward to that, and I am having a good time with it while going forward. I also picked up Neo: The World Ends With You, and a lot of people are reacting favorably to this one, much more so than the Switch port of the original, which is kind of like
an inferior port. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm pretty excited to play that, but I haven't done it because to be honest, I never beat the first game. I only kind of got maybe a quarter of the way through it.
So I guess the game ends with you.
So I need to break out my DS and play the original version. Apparently that version of the game is going for a lot of money right now. So I'm really glad I have it.
I'm not surprised. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff. Like the DS stuff has started to go up.
Yeah, even PS3 stuff. I mean, there's just
PS3 stuff spiked, but then it it didn't go back down to what it was, but it's settled now that the PS Store issue was postponed.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, anything worth playing from a previous era is now a commodity.
Well, PS3 and 360 stuff in particular, that's going to be the real scary stuff, because in the PS4 and Xbox One era, that was when releasing complete or definitive editions got popular, but PS3 didn't really have that. So, like, you better download whatever DLC or updates, like, right now, because a lot of those games were shells of what they would eventually become.
Especially for licensed fighting games.
Oh my god, dude. Can you imagine fucking Smash Brothers Ultimate once the Nintendo Switch network goes down?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Literally half the game is not there.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, they're licensed, so they won't get ported in the same way ever again, probably. You know, like, something like Smash Ultimate is, like, there are so many deals that need to be made for that happen with different companies that I don't think we will ever have a game that's that complete ever again. So probably
unless
with the miracle that we
rules.
have it the way we have it currently.
Well, unless they change the rules on how those deals are made.
Every time I think I'm optimistic for it, like, maybe there still might be one of the conditions with whatever company there are is just like, hey, you could just do it this one time and that's it. So, like, it might even depend on the specific company that they're making the deal with. So
yeah,
who knows? But maybe some of the characters are good in perpetuity, and some aren't. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
I bet you, like, anything having to do with Square, they have to renegotiate every single time.
Oh my god, that's got to be a freaking trip. Or I'm also thinking, I know it's not as big of a deal in Japan as it has been in America, but like the Super Robot Wars stuff.
Oh yeah. But yeah, The World Ends With You. I mean, that was another one of those like, cult series that we never thought we would ever get another entry in. So I'm just really pretty happy that we have it.
Yes.
To be honest, I'm really, really happy that we have it. So, also, this game is multi-platform, which most of the really cool things that they've been putting out recently have really been stuck to one console. Mm-hmm. So, I'm pretty surprised about Square Enix doing that with this one, because I would think it would be more of a Switch-focused game. But yeah, it's out on PS4, so go for it, and PC, I think, too. So. That's pretty cool. That's the way to do it, too. I mean, you should put it on everything. Also, Blastermaster03 is out, and I have slept on the series hardcore. I played the first Blastermaster Zero when the Switch originally came out, because it was one of the first games, downloadable games on the system that was really worth downloading, like, as an indie title. It's made by Inti Creates, the same people that make, Bloodstained, and also the mighty Gunvolt games, and the Azure Striker Gunvolt. They also make number 9, but, like, that's not their markup quality. All their other games are pretty darn good. They also were the original makers of like, the Mega Man Zero games. So, like, they know what they're doing for the most part when it comes to this kind of thing. But Blastermaster Zero was basically like a remake of the original Blastermaster, but all updated to have modern niceties. And it is a much better game for it. In fact, I would say, if you want to get into Blastermaster, just play the Zero games, because they're really, really good. So yeah, I really like the art style and everything, and Limited Run has done physical copies of these games, but I've kind of slept on it, because, like, it's just, like, one of those things I never went back to, but it was really good when I played it. But apparently this third one is amazing. Like, everybody's really, like, raving about it that has played it. So I'm kind of sad that I've slept on it for so long, because, it's a revival of an old series that needed a good update, and finally got it. Like, there were so many attempts to bring back Blastermaster, and none of them had ever been really any good. And this one, just, like, this version, just, like, not only is it good, but it's better than the original, which is like really surprising and good. So I'm just excited about that. I don't know if you have any interest in these games or not, but I think they would be kind of up your alley, Lotus.
Nah, honestly. I mean, I like watching them, but I'm not interested in playing them.
Gotcha. Also, I wanted to mention a couple things about Mister. I mentioned things from time to time. Things are a little less because of like the big projects that Hotego is working on. There hasn't been like any major news because like the big things that are being worked on take a long time. It's not like one of those like things like where it used to be like one game out a week, like every week. But his CPS2 core is coming together. It is in public beta right now, which means that it's good enough to be out there. And that is like the biggest accomplishment to happen on Mister so far. It's just like the most advanced thing. And CPS2 games, like look it up, like they're really really good. They're like fun. Street Fighter Alpha 1, 2, and 3, the Darkstalkers games, like all the really great fighting games from that era. Before, of course, you getting the CPS3 and the Naomi board. But like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo is on there. Like all the best versions of all those like that era of fighting games are on that. So like it's super super impressive. Also like a bunch of beat 'em ups, like the Dungeons and Dragons games, Aliens vs Predator.
Sure.
But while we're waiting for that, there's been a couple other really cool things, and the most surprising thing recently is that there is a private beta, meaning basically only the creator of the FPGA has it in their in beta phase. You can't play it, but they are finally running actual gameplay off of a Saturn Mister core, which is super impressive. Sega Saturn is notoriously difficult to emulate, and to have a hardware accurate representation of it through FPGA is an insane accomplishment. And not only that, but like Saturn doesn't really have a good way to play it via HDMI, except for like upscale, through an upscaler.
Yeah.
So there's no HDMI solution. So this is potentially the best Saturn will ever look and play for the near future. So I think it's really awesome, especially since there are so many great arcade era games on the Saturn that never got ported elsewhere, or either have like their best versions on that. Like there's just so many good things, and also great RPGs that we never got. Most people never got a chance to play, like Panzer Dragoon Saga. So yeah, really cool stuff. Also, a Twitter handle named RMC Retro recently revealed that they have what they are calling a Mr. Multi-System in development, which is really kind of neat for somebody who wants to get into Mister but doesn't want to like build one from scratch, which is what you basically have to do right now. And this basically consoleizes Mister. All you have to do is buy a DE10 Nano separately and put it in it, and it has like all the other things built in. Extra RAM, USB hub, basically links to other expansion ability, also like ways to plug it in, a switch, something that you don't need to something that you would need to add to the current one. You actually need to buy like a switch that would go into the back of your system to turn it on and off, because like the actual thing itself does not have a power button. So it's really really cool. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I don't think they revealed how much it's going to cost, but it's definitely a step in the right direction for a FAM thing that is kind of impenetrable for somebody who doesn't know much about it.
Yeah, I was gonna mention the cost might be daunting, but if I were ever to get into Mister stuff, this might be the way I would want to go.
Yeah, it's just like everything is there. why wouldn't you want this? You know.
Yeah.
So that would be my suggestion too. I mean, it looks really good and well polished, and honestly, I think you would really like the Mister if you just knew what to do with it. But yeah, it has an all-in-one I/O board, which basically means that it can output HDMI and analog signals.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that I most care about, because from what I've seen of the Mister, it looks like you hook it up to your computer, but I want to be able to, like...
No, that's not true.
It's not? Okay.
It has a what's called an I/O board, but that allows you to output to HDMI, just like any video game system.
Okay, then never mind.
Or analog. Yeah. So you don't need to hook it up to a computer. It's completely separate.
Oh, perfect.
But it's in a really nice housing, which is something that is kind of a challenge right now. You can get basically what amounts to fan-made housings.
Yeah.
Because fans have stepped forward and said, "Hey, I'm going to make a case for Mister," but none of as good as they can be, none of them have really felt like a professional console kind of thing. And this is injection molded and all that stuff. So yeah, the RAM is there. There is a USB hub, power switch, snack support, which snack support is basically lagless interfacing with the original controllers, which is really neat. So if anybody who's ever played a video game emulator, like an NES or Super NES emulator, through USB, with even with a pretty good controller, has probably even experienced a minor bit of lag, because of what's inherently going on with USB ports, but apparently that bypasses a lot of that. So it's really, really neat. It has analog output, just in case you want to put out to an old CRT. It also has optical audio out and a few other things. So yeah, this is really neat stuff. So I think this is the way to go in the future, but I don't think there's pricing on it yet. It's probably going to be, if I had to guess, it'd probably be $250 or $300. That seems to be the kind of the going rate for this kind of professional-ish kind of thing, but there hasn't been an announcement, so who the heck knows? I just hope it isn't something like $500, because if that's the case, then nobody will want it anyway. It's just they would have priced themselves out. So moving on from that, you also broke this to me on our private chat, but I know you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, so Scarlett Johansson is, I think, either preparing to or actually suing Disney over revenue issues, because she got screwed out of a whole ton of money, because the Black Widow movie is now finally out, but apparently part of the stipulation for how much money she would get was tied to something like theater revenue and royalties, and of course that was terrible because the pandemic happened. And I mean, you remember hearing about Black Widow years ago. It's not like it was made during pandemic where everybody knew. So the theater revenue was just awful, and most people saw it on HBO. This is Marvel, so Disney Plus, I suppose, or
yeah.
whatever the hell it was. So so she got screwed out of you can never know for sure. You just have to estimate, but somebody had estimated $50 million or something. So we're going to see how that goes. And Disney could easily pay. They're one of the biggest companies in existence, but they're also a bunch of assholes. And
they did this knowing full well that it would screw her over.
That's the thing. Disney has this really friendly facade, but they're a bunch of assholes, and they have been for decades. But not only that, but Emma Stone, of Cruella, has seen this, and we don't know if she's actually going to go through with anything, but she's weighing her options regarding whether she's going to be the second person in line to do this.
Yeah, I mean, also, she's in prime, position to do it now because she's not tied to any future movies.
That's true. They can't threaten her with cutting her out of Avengers or whatever.
Yeah, this was her last, as of right now, her last Avengers movie, so or her last MCU movie. So,
yeah.
Her character, passed in Endgame. So, I would bet that she comes back in some form or another. This is comic books, so nobody ever dies forever. I mean, there was a rule about in comic books, and this extends to comic books outside of actual comics.
Yeah,
but
it was
there was
Uncle
a rule
Ben
that
and Jason
nobody
Todd.
comes back except for a couple people, like Batman's parents, Peter Parker's parents.
Uncle Ben,
Uncle Ben,
Jason Todd,
and
I think possibly Bucky Barnes as well.
Oh, and Bucky Barnes is obviously back. He's one of the most popular.
Yeah, Bucky Barnes is back. Peter Parker's parents are back. Uncle Ben, I think, is
Uncle
still
Ben
dead.
has not come back.
Jason Todd has come back. Have Batman's parents come back?
No.
Okay,
That's
so we're really running out.
Yeah, but there are very few people that are sacred, and they over half of them have come back. So
yeah,
Peter's parents, I think
they're like secret agents or something.
Like part of the Chameleon, a plot from the Chameleon or something like that.
Yeah, I just remember they were like secret agents who faked their own death or something. It was such bullshit.
It wasn't his real parents, but they went there.
Yeah.
Jason Todd is actually Jason Todd. He went into a Lazarus pit just like anybody can in the MCU.
That's in the DC.
Or I meant DCU.
Yeah, I actually forgot about Lazarus pits. I was just thinking like, well, there was a different medium that I was thinking, but that's a spoiler.
Oh, okay.
Regarding how he came back, but like, I forgot about Lazarus pits. It's such an easy out.
Yeah, they can literally bring back anybody they want.
Like if Marvel had that, you could just, I want my Uncle Ben to come back. Just take him to a Lazarus pit.
I mean, they've also proven that they can just yank a different version from a different continuity, like a different universe.
Oh yeah, DC didn't Superboy Prime literally punch a hole in reality?
Yeah, I mean, like that happens. Spider-Gwen, like Gwen Stacy's alive.
That's Marvel, but yeah, the Spider-Verse where they just straight up interact with alternate dimensions. Well, that was the whole plot of Into the Spider-Verse, where Kingpin lost his family and he was trying to like pull an alternate family from a different dimension so he could have his family back. Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean that's just what comics will never forego a marketable character for very long. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, look at Superman. He died in Batman vs. Superman, and then he was back in like 30 seconds in the next fucking movie.
He was actually back by the end of the movie.
Yeah. It's such bullshit.
Yeah, like as if we didn't there are no stakes in comics.
I mean, like I could buy him being dead. They weren't gonna have him dead for a whole movie, but I can buy him being dead for like a good part of the next movie. What is it like now that Superman's not here? But they didn't even do that. Like, what are you doing?
I mean,
they may as well have just not died.
They have to do that for certain plots to happen. Like Captain Marvel can't be in most of Avengers Endgame because she would just fucking be.
Well, because her movie was made after.
Yeah, exactly. So
like that was some bullshit. Where were you when we were gonna have our universe threatened? Oh, I had more important things to do.
Yeah, she was doing more important things.
Yeah, fuck you, fuck you. Don't even with this. You don't introduce a god character and then realize, oh wait, the god character didn't help in the thing where Doctor Strange had to calculate odds from every alternate reality. There was no alternate reality where Captain Marvel was just chilling. She had a day off that day.
Yeah, it's yeah. But yeah, the market. You need to have a decent story. They also talk about these kinds of things in the comics. You kind of have to like suspend your disbelief that there are other characters in this universe that could be helping right now. You have to You have to be like, this is a Spider-Man problem, and they will only go outside of Spider-Man if they really need to.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, that's fair enough, because Spider-Man's villains are mostly, like, overpowered mooks.
No,
but, like, Thanos is a big fucking deal.
He's had his fair share of cataclysms that he's had to deal with.
Well, that's true. Maximum Carnage was a real problem.
That could have been taken care of very easily by the Fantastic Four, I'm sure.
Well, to be fair, I think they addressed the Fantastic Four, like, weren't around, and they actually, like, broke into their lab to steal their Stonic gun.
That's my point. Is like they need to have like some kind of artifice in order to get like the power.
No, that's true, but they still had the Fantastic Four without having the Fantastic Four, and Captain America got involved. A bunch of heroes you never even heard of got involved. So like that it did come to that.
Cloak and Dagger, remember them? Well, Cloak and Dagger actually got their own TV show. But,
Cloak and Dagger were like among the first who were just around. But like, no, I was gonna say Deathlock, the most '90s character you can think of.
Deathlock, where he keeps saying pewter. He's having like a fight with his like.
Oh yeah, like this is the cool text line that the kids use that won't age terribly at all.
Oh boy,
I forgot about that.
But yeah, my point is like nobody's gonna call Disney out to task because they're afraid of not having a job in the future, and like Scarlett Johansson obviously is marketable outside of that. So
she's been in movies outside of that like this whole time.
Yeah, exactly. So and her character's already dead. So what does she have to lose? So we'll see. But it might just be one of those things where they never ask her back ever again, even though she had a point. It's just one of those things. Moving on from that, this is your item, so I'll let you go ahead with it.
Yeah, I only heard about this very, very recently, and what I'm about to talk about only popped up on July 27th anyway. But there is a teaser, it's like a minute 10, a minute 11 seconds, for Phil Tippett's Mad God. And this looks like a largely stop-motion affair, but the thing is, I was watching the video for this, and I'm like, this looks awesome, but it also looks out of place. Like, it's a stop-motion movie, no one's doing those, but like, what is this, some sort of weird indie project? It has to be. But Phil Tippett worked on stop-motion effects for, like, the original Star Wars trilogy, I'm assuming, like, the AT-ATs, and like Jurassic Park. So like I see this crazy stop motion movie and I'm like, who's making stop motion movies now? Well, the answer is kind of no one. This project has been in the works for like 30 years, like since like the 90s, which made more sense to at least try stop motion. And now you have this huge sweeping epic looking thing where I don't even really know what it's about, but it's just like interesting imagery after interesting imagery. So I'm very curious about this. This is the first thing I can think of in years that I've wanted to see like in the movie theater just based on the trailer. Even Mad Max Fury Road, I love that movie, but I was apprehensive about it because Mad Max 3 wasn't even very good, and Fury Road came out like 20 years later and fell in development hell, so I was like,
Yeah, you would never expect Fury Road to be as good as it was.
I did not have high hopes.
Classic.
That's the thing. Like, Fury Road is one of my favorite movies in years, but I didn't have high hopes for it before seeing it.
I mean, how would you?
Yeah. You see trailers and you're like, well, I don't know. Turned out to be great. But this trailer looks fucking crazy, and I want to see this. When is the last time I've been genuinely like, whoa, this trailer has me wanting to see a movie? Like, that I don't even remember the last time that's happened. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I am going to seek it out. Sure, because if you're excited, I'll definitely be excited. I mean, I'm excited about a couple things that are coming out right now. I'm really looking forward to Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, the Suicide Squad, but that also looks interesting. But
I'm looking forward to Dune.
Dune. Because Mad God came out of nowhere, and it's got praise quotes from like Kathleen Kennedy and Guillermo del Toro, so it's got big names saying, "Oh, this guy knows what he's doing." And the trailers, or the teaser, is brand new. Like, if you see it on YouTube, it takes you to, like, go to the website to find out. But if you go to the website, all that's there is just a link to the trailer. So this has just come up. I'm curious to see where this goes. I don't even know what the plot is. I'm just seeing crazy effects and vibe. So we'll see where this goes, I guess.
Nice. Well, I also had a bit of bad news to go over. I know a lot of people, generations, will be weeping at the loss of this.
What a miserable kind of day.
But everybody's favorite John lookalike, or John Legend lookalike, Arthur, is the childlike aardvark, is finally ending.
Did you know that series was still going?
Yeah, it's 20 years old.
25 years.
25 years, wow.
25 years. This started when we were 10.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I used to watch it when I was a kid. I used to read the books when he still looked like an aardvark.
I read a couple of the books, I want to say. I actually forgot they were books. I saw, same thing with the show, I saw like episodes kind of on and off. It was a good show, but for some reason, I didn't I gotta see the next episode. Like, I didn't really keep coming back, but I liked it well enough when I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Doug. It's like very overly wholesome.
Yeah, for Doug, at least I have an excuse. For Doug, I didn't have Nickelodeon, so that just wasn't happening. But Arthur was what, PBS?
Yeah, I watched it because I also did not have cable until later.
Yeah.
But Arthur is more well known, I think, these days by adults.
Well, it's still going until just now.
There are a lot of wonderful.
Like people have their kids watching Arthur today.
Yeah. But like,
I wonder if they do you think they still have, this might be a little dated, but do you think they still have, and now a word from us kids, with like real life like third graders talking about what school projects they're working on or whatever?
I don't know. But I did like it well enough, and it was also a very progressive show.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
So like it is important to history and that kind of stuff. And I also remember there being a kind of like an adventure point and click of video game.
There have definitely been video games. I just forgot how they worked.
Yeah, it was just like basically like there's one that's like a talent show one.
Yeah. It's little kid stuff that like does not hold up at all today, based on just how they run. But they're fun enough back then. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like his sister playing like a jaw harp.
DW.
Yeah, DW.
I love that meme with DW that keeps coming up every once in a while, with his room, like with the sign on the door, like "Keep out." Like, this sign can't stop me because I can't read. It's great.
But there's just like the clenched fist meme is just wonderful. And like a lot of people obviously posted that when they saw the announcement of the end of the show.
Well, I also like just how blunt and just how naive that one line from Buster the Bunny Rabbit, like, who would go on the internet and just lie to people? It's such a like a timeless line.
My favorite one is there's a picture of like a close up of Arthur looking at his hand, and it's like pancake syrup. But
what the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah, exactly. It looks like Shinji from End of Evangelion.
That was fucked up, actually. But
yeah. But just Arthur saying "I'm so fucked up" to
that's what it was. I'm so fucked up. Yeah.
To pancake syrup is like one of the funniest things.
That's very funny.
The thing is, you can post it anywhere because anybody who gets it can't be mad at it.
Yeah. And anyone who doesn't get it is like, what?
Exactly. So
you're fucked up because of pancake syrup.
Post it carte blanche. Nobody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, if you know it, you know it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm so fucked up. I also saw a very funny meme with like, because you know the clenched fist thing led to when he like punched his sister, but he had this super angry like face when it finally cuts to his face. I saw a very like this really made me laughing out loud, like in a fucking restaurant, but like when Mr. Ryu showed it to me, but like it was an image of like probably Frieza or somebody holding up Vegeta by the scruff of his neck, like the Saiyan armor, where Vegeta's been like all fucked up, but like they photoshopped the hand so it's like brown, and then the second frame is Arthur like Arthur's the one who just kicked the shit out of Vegeta. This is like the funniest thing to me.
Yeah, he's famously kind of a weenie character, so
yeah,
it's just
like
really
he's a dweeb.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, with him gone and Caillou gone, I don't know what we're going to do, Lotus. It's just I don't know what we're going to do without.
We're gonna have to come up with another TV show with a surprisingly catchy to this day theme song.
Exactly.
Like even Arthur's theme song. I know you said the show is very wholesome, but that theme song is super. Like what a great day it is today. Like it's really just super positivity.
Got some reggae going on.
Yeah. What a wonderful kind of day. It's great.
Moving on from that, this surprised me. Apparently, there is a works in the works a Blade Runner anime.
Yeah, it's like CG, I believe.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to.
Black Lotus, like the freaking Magic the Gathering card.
Yeah, I am excited about that. I mean, like,
you like as much as people talk about Blade Runner and as influential as it has been to the genre as a whole, you really don't see much actual Blade Runner content. There's the movie from the 80s. There's the sequel like 30 years later. There's that one side computer game from the 90s that nobody knows about that was only recently re-released. And now there's this. There's been 4 Blade Runner things.
The original book.
I mean, I guess, but that's more the influence to Blade Runner than actually Blade Runner.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
It's like Psycho was a book, kind of.
Yeah. It's just interesting because like there's just not a lot of content in that universe, and
there are 4 things called Blade Runner, and then sure there's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but there are 4 Blade Runner things in like 40 years.
You are forgetting the sequel. In the movie in the same universe that nobody.
Oh, Soldier. I did forget that because how would you know? I guess there's the yellow aesthetic.
By the Paul W.S. Anderson.
He can make good movies. He can do it.
He just won't.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't.
Let's just put it that way. But yeah, I think this is going to be a Netflix joint or something. But this takes place in the middle of the original movie, so it's an interquel. Look at that. So that's pretty cool. And
do you think Harrison Ford's gonna swing by and go, "Hi, I'm working for the magazine, and I need an interview"?
But yeah. 13 episodes will be directed by Shinji Arakami from Appleseed, and
that's going old school.
This is like the second Appleseed, probably the 3D one.
Okay.
And Kenji Kimiyama. Let me see here. Yeah, so I don't. It's going to be on Adult Swim and Crunchyroll. There we go.
Imagine that. It's been a long time since, like, just something like this has come on Adult Swim.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
weird
like
anime
an original
series.
Content kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Adult Swim still has a lot of original cartoons and everything, but like
original anime.
But not even original anime, just like this vibe. Like I haven't seen anything like this since like Paranoia Agent, where it's just something weird shows up. And you're like,
maybe
what?
Ergo Proxy. They did have that. They had Dead Man.
I forgot that was on TV. I can't even believe that. That was a really was that the anime that literally had footnotes at the end of each episode?
It's notoriously one of the most difficult to understand anime that exists.
If I'm thinking the right series, there's just straight up like just footnotes at the end of the episode. Here's what the fuck we were talking about. Like it's so weird.
It's along the lines of the Ghost in the Shell manga, which is impenetrable.
You know what's funny about Ergo Proxy, by the way? You know the main girl in that series? She has like super sunken eyes. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen it.
Like, well, you know how when you're tired you have rings around your eyes? I don't think it's because she's tired. It's just her look, but she's got like black rings around her eyes. They're the most sunken things ever. And I saw like a really funny parody comic that addressed that, and it just showed her getting up in the morning each day, going up to the mirror, and just punching herself with both fists in each eye, and it's like, there we go. It's very funny.
Well, moving on from that, some other anime stuff. Evangelion Rebuild, 3.0 plus 1.0. That would be 4 to normal people.
Yeah, it's like Kingdom Hearts. It's 358 or 358 over 2 days. Like, all right.
Has a Western release trailer, which is both surprising and a relief. Anybody who's been following the rebuild of Evangelion knows how goddamn long it took to get the third movie. The movie came out in Japan and then took something like 4 years to get to the United States.
It's crazy.
With an official translation. So anybody who wanted to really find out what happened in the third movie had to basically steal it, and which is ridiculous for one of the most anticipated projects in anime history.
Yeah, if you want to sell the thing, then just sell it. Otherwise, the only people who are going to buy it are the real diehard fans.
I think the translation was in development hell. They had like major problems with the casting of the dub and also the translation. And
I can see that because even the original series, there's like 2 dubs now.
Yeah, I think they got through all that, thankfully. I've actually still never seen the third movie, which I hear changes the entire vibe of the rebuild series.
Oh, that's nuts.
Yeah, the first movie is very similar to what actually happens in the original anime. Well, the beginning of the original anime, and then the second movie is one of the best anime things I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not even just saying. The second movie is phenomenal. It also makes Shinji a hero, like when he's typically the biggest piece of shit in anime history.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Shinji does save the day on the regular, but like as a last resort, like every time.
Yeah, he does it despite.
That's one of those things that I really liked about the series that everybody sleeps on, even though it's very similar. It has a musical vibe instead of a Christianity vibe, is Razafon.
Oh, I didn't know that one. Yeah.
Because I remember watching the very first episode. The main character is not Shinji, but Ayato. And a not angel attacks the city, and they're like, oh my god, Ayato, you've got to get in the mech and fight this thing to beat it. It'll be dangerous, but you got to do it. And he's like, yeah, I guess I better do it. And he just fucking gets in.
Well, Shinji is so depressed and messed up that he can't bring himself to do what he actually needs to do. Or just stand up to the people that are telling him to do it.
That's the thing. Like, having depression, like, yeah, Shinji does genuinely seem to be depressed, but at the same time, he's also a piece of shit.
Yeah. No, he runs away from his problems instead of addressing them, and also, like, if he really doesn't want to do it, you shouldn't just be moping about it. You should just fucking get out of there.
Yeah, like, the reason he gets in the mech in the first place, in the first episode, is they're like, well, okay, if you don't want to go in, you don't have to. We'll just send the previous pilot in, and she's still in, like a body cast from the last fight,
yeah.
And she could, like, barely move, and she's, like, trying to get in the mech, and she's just like, oh, Jesus, don't make me look at this. Fine, I'll get in the damn mech.
Yeah, but apparently the third movie dumps every good thing he did in the second movie out in the toilet, like, almost immediately.
Okay.
Like, he apparently is at the worst he's ever been, probably, in the third movie.
That's legitimately impressive, considering I've seen the series in both movies, like both original movies.
So I do want to. I own it, but I haven't brought myself to watch it because I love the second movie so much. It's just like, oh, but this third movie.
Well, you never know. Oh, you know what the fourth movie's gonna be? A still image for 30 minutes.
of Arthur and pancake syrup. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was thinking of Kaoru, but that's fine too.
But
or an elevator.
So this is actually the final movie in the rebuild of Evangelion, and supposedly,
which is incredible. This has been going on for what, like a decade?
A decade, and probably the actual ending that like the creator wants. So
yeah, you can tell that the original anime, that couldn't have been the real ending. And then the movies were kind of the real ending, but they were so, like, well, this is definitely an ending, but it was so damn trippy.
It was more of a reaction than what he originally wanted.
Yeah.
So I think he didn't need to do this rebuild. So
Yeah.
this is probably the way that he wants it. I haven't read anything on the reception of this last movie, but I don't care because even if it's divisive, I still want to see it because it's interesting, right?
Well, that's the whole thing. Yeah, sometimes being divisive is precisely what makes it interesting. Like the third Madoka movie, the first two Madoka movies were basically just the first and second halves of the series, very abridged, but movie quality. They're gorgeous. The third movie was straight up new, and the ending was like, what? Like, I actually liked it, but I understand why people don't.
It's like the end of the Dark Tower. It's just like I waited 30 years for this. Well, yes.
I was pretty mad at first, but I like it more in retrospect.
In conceptual wise, it is genius.
Yeah.
But like while it's happening, it makes you mad, which is what's supposed to happen.
Exactly. Well, it's like what we were saying several podcasts ago about the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula movie, where he's wearing this like Japanese clothing, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? Why does Dracula look like that?" But that's exactly the vibe that the original audience from the book had. They're like, "What is this weird foreigner clothing?"
Well, it's also like No Country for Old Men. Like something happens that deeply subverts your expectations and makes you mad about it.
Yeah,
it's supposed to do that. At the very end of the movie, you do not get what you want in the slightest. And you are so much so that you aren't like it doesn't even give you the details of what you wanted. Or were expecting. So
it's No Country for Old Men, but it's also No Country for you. You're not prepared for this shit.
You're one of the old men. The character that you identify with is one step behind everybody constantly.
Yes.
So and he's the old man. He's the old man. The character that you are supposed to identify with is just like
the guy who's out of his element. Yeah.
That has to shrug at the end of the movie. At the end of the story. It's like, well, I guess I'll just retire then. And this sucked. But yeah, Here we go. But yeah, I'm really excited to watch this, and I'm also excited that it's timely. It's coming out on the 13th, so I can rewatch the movies and then watch this. And it's coming out on Prime Video. I don't have to pay any extra for it, so I'm excited. So Evangelion Rebuild 4, by the way.
3.0 plus 1.0.
Yeah, whatever. This is your item, but I delight in it.
Yeah, this is something that we actually forgot to mention last week, but Garth Marenghi's Darkplace has just made it to Amazon Prime. I know that a lot of it's on YouTube, especially the DVD extras, which you actually should look up. It goes into like deep lore of the fake making of the show. You know, the fake making of the fake show. But Garth Marenghi's Darkplace is a 6-episode British series where the plot is just mediocre schlock and it doesn't really matter, but the show is hysterical because the point of the show is that it's very poorly made and very poorly written because it's supposed to be the project of this prolific writer who's like a hack and super full of himself. Like he does read-alouds of like little tiny passages of his book to get you in the mood. Like, and what was that coming out of her back? Blood? Blood. Blood.
He's supposed to be like a really bad version of like Stephen King.
And the funny thing is, like, as stupid as that sounded when you hear it out loud, when you read it, it's just the same word, blood, 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 blood over again. It's like this, like reading this would be terrible. And so, like, what's great?
It's the theatricality that.
Well, the theatricality makes it stupid funny, but if like, what's also funny is thinking about that this was written and it'd be like unreadable. But so like this guy made a TV show from the genius of his mind, and it's just like it's terrible. There's continuity errors between camera cuts. There's bad audio balancing. There's bad audio adjusting between cuts. There's tons of overdub, like ADR, where you just hear like, oh yeah, it's very well done. Like it's like too loud, and it doesn't look like the character's saying it because they're kind of not. There's one particular actor who every so often looks directly at the camera, and then it suddenly cuts to him doing his line properly. The guy just has a bad habit of looking at the camera. Like, there's a lot of stuff like that that makes for a very, very funny show. And it's great because normally when you hear about a show like this, you'd think, I don't want to watch this. But usually shows like that, there's something about them that the creators get wrong. But with Darkplace, they get everything wrong, which is, like, that's a conscious decision. Like, you have to know, like, you have to understand what the rules are in order to break them.
Yeah, they're obviously big fans of the genre.
Yeah, this is carefully crafted badness. Like, you know what it makes me think of is in Into the Spider-Verse. Remember when Miles was just stressed out and he tried failing out of his science course because he's getting too much pressure, and the teacher calls him in, and she was like a blind like, this was a true or false quiz, and she was like, a blind person would have gotten about a 50-50 on this. You got everything wrong, which means that you had to know to get them wrong. You are fucking with me. You are smarter than this. So, like, that's Darkplace, where everything is so bad that it's just funny. It's very, very entertaining.
It's very similar to me in the vibe of Danger 5, which is a different genre, but also the same kind of thing.
The funny thing is, Danger 5, with few exceptions, it's an alright made show. It's just, like, really stupid. But it has a similar aesthetic. With Garth Marenghi's Darkplace,
it has that, like,
it's funny because it's
British
bad.
Look. Yeah, that, like hazy, like, 550 hertz look.
Yes, and you have, like, poor lines, like, I aced all of my tests and got A's on them. You know, like redundancies like that. It's just, it's amazing.
Also, Matt Berry's in it, and he's one of my favorite, like, comedians ever.
I think he might be the main guy.
Yeah, Matt Berry is probably most famous for being the second boss in IT Crowd, which is really where the meat of the show is. Like, the first boss is like a funny straight man, but he is not a straight man. He's the clown of the show in like the biggest.
Oh wow, because like everybody in this show is a straight man, which furthers how stupid it is. Because you're like, look at this show, you know what this is. You're playing this straight. Like, it's great.
Matt Berry in the IT Crowd is like, everybody else is smarter than him, very obviously. He's very dumb and dramatic.
That's
and
like,
also,
it's like a Ricky Gervais character.
Also the biggest piece of shit in the world.
That's like Ricky Gervais from The Office.
Yeah. He's that, but like even more comic booky. Like, he's just like comically like the worst boss in the world.
Okay, because in Darkplace, what's great about it is that everybody treats each other the way the show is scripted, because in the context of the show, it's a scripted show, and every so often it'll cut to Matt Berry, Garth Marenghi, saying like, so what I was planning for this particular scene was this and that. So like, everybody's interacting with each other as best as you could hope in the show, but like, if you ever watch the DVD extras, you could tell there were like issues on set and stuff like that. Like, there were progressively lower and lower amounts of crew.
The Matt character is Matt Holmes. One of the other characters is Matthew Berry.
Okay. Yeah. But like, just you could tell that there were like tensions on set and stuff like that. Like in the DVD extras, it's like Spinal Tap, where like the behind the scenes is still scripted, but it's very funny.
Matt Berry is just amazing because he's just known for his dramatic flair while speaking, and his speaking.
Well, yeah, he does that. Like, it's like Simon Pegg in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Like, it's time to take down this criminal. Like he has that way of talking. Like the opening credits of the show include him running at full speed, carrying a baby, and jumping and flipping over a fence while something behind him explodes, which never even comes up in an actual episode. It's great.
But Matt Berry is also famous. Like, people just give him like stupid emails to read, like dramatic readings, and have him like.
Yeah, he would be good at that.
That's like one of his bits.
Because that's just how he talks all the time on the show. Like, it looks like today was not going to be an ordinary day after all. You know, like that kind of thing.
Exactly.
It's so bad. It's great.
Moving on from that, longtime fans of South Park whether you like it or not, may remember an episode called Casa Bonita, which is about a mythical Mexican restaurant that Cartman really, really, really wants to go to, that has like a log flume in it and like
divers off of some cliff, pirate treasure.
Apparently it was a real place that they were describing in the show, and everybody thought they were joking.
But I mean, that's something I knew about like a while ago. Like that's not the news part of this, but it was one of those things that's funny because
you would never think it was real in a million years.
Yeah, it's funny because it's so oddly specific that like it turns out it was just some local thing and they don't care if you get the joke, which is what makes it funnier.
Yeah.
It's like how sometimes Mystery Science Theater riffs will be just of like something that nobody's going to get but them, and that's why it's funny.
Yeah. So, it was a real place that they were describing, and that's the joke. Like every time Cartman talks about it, it gets more and more outrageous, and it like that is how it actually is.
Yeah, the joke is that it's not more and more outrageous.
So this has been a real place for 20 years.
A very long time.
And they are Trey Parker and Matt Stone are actually in talks to buy it.
It's just funny to me. Yeah,
that is just something they would do, even at their own detriment. They would own this place.
Yeah. That is pretty funny.
They have so much money, they don't care whether they lose some money on a joke. So yeah.
Yeah, I just love the kind of joke that's like so oddly specific. Maybe it's true. Like this is a weird thing to bring up, but oh no, I'm flaking on the name. What was the name of that one like quote anime series? It's like 5 episodes long with Will Smith's kid. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Tokyo something.
Oh yeah, like
Jaden Smith.
Neo Yokio.
Yeah.
Because it's New York.
Neo Yokio. Yeah, I think it's what it was called, right?
What was it?
Neo Yokio?
Yeah, Neo Yokio. Because it's New York. Neo Yok. But there was a part in it where each character was trying to buy the more expensive, more elaborate gift, and he settled on a watch. And like, what are the best watches you have? And the salesman had one where he's like, this was like a collaboration between Rolex and Domino's that only went for the most rewarding employees in this particular years. And it was like, there was so much weird, stupid details. I was like, stop the episode. Let me Google this. And like, the joke was that it was real. Like, Domino's has had like a collaboration with Rolex for I don't know if they do it anymore, but they've had it for years. You could like look this stuff up.
But it only happened in Japan or something. Yeah.
No, it was in America, but like it was
nobody knew about it.
For like the highest level employee of the year or whatever, they would get like a Domino's branded Rolex watch. It's like the weirdest thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
And it's just like they brought that up in Neo Yokio because like it's just inherently funny.
Yeah. Boy. And I wanted to throw this out there. The Green Knight is out, and it is basically a cult hit already. So this is a pretty interesting one, considering the fact that we've kind of been tangentially talking about this lately. But the Sir Gawain and the Green Knight is a 14th century Middle English poem that J.R.R. Tolkien translated when he was alive, and the probably the version of it that you can buy is his version of it, and he even did he had a specific attention to try to keep the meter and things like that, like when he translated it, which is extremely difficult.
Yeah, that's the thing with poems, is like, do you want it to have the meter and the rhyme, or do you want to translate it? Because it's usually one or the other.
Yeah, because you're going to have to use different ways of saying things in order to get the meter.
You have it make sense.
So
it's like when you're translating anime. Do you want to insert American colloquialisms because the Japanese colloquialisms don't translate? And then having people go, they wouldn't say LOL in Japan.
They have their own way of saying LOL.
Or do you want to translate it literally, which will be, quote, accurate, but it might miss the vibe?
Yeah. But yeah. So the version that I have, I picked up when I was a teenager and never read it. But it's Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, Pearl, and Sir Orfeo. So he translated all three, and modernized them at the time.
Yeah, I just read it as a story back in the day.
Yeah. But they made a movie based off of it, and it is really, really good. I saw it with my wife on Friday night, and
Nice.
It is the kind of movie that is a vibe. Like things happen slowly.
Well, they would have to. It's a short story.
Yeah, it's about a knight of the Round Table, who actually doesn't have much myth of his own until this story was read. Gawain is King Arthur's nephew. He is the son of his sister, Morgan Le Fay.
Okay.
Yeah, that isn't his incest son, which is Mordred. So yeah, he is the actual nephew of King Arthur, and what happens is essentially a green demon knight comes into court one day and challenges somebody there to land a blow on him, and then only to be repaid back in a year.
Yes, yeah, do whatever you want to me, and I'll do the same thing to you a year from today.
Correct. And Sir Gawain steps up, and he apparently is a young knight, so he's trying to prove himself and look good in front of King Arthur.
He's a little brash.
And comes up and beheads the knight, and thinking, okay, well, that's done.
Yeah, see you pay that back in a year.
Yeah, and he picks his head back up and puts it on his head and says, okay, see you in a year.
Bye. Yeah, it's like, oh, fuck. So, the next year is, the scariest period of his life.
Yeah, so the year goes by, and he's like, okay, well, I guess I have to, King Arthur says you have to go do it. So
yeah, live up to, you're a knight, be a knight.
Yeah, so,
I mean, don't spoil the movie, even though the story is 700 years old.
But that's the conceit.
Yes.
So the rest of the entire thing is him going on the journey to go meet the Green Knight at his Green Chapel.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because like I said, the actual story is short, but as a movie, I could see you, building up that year of tension, the long journey, you're intentionally walking slowly because you don't want to actually get there.
Well, what's great about it is that it is a very open metaphor for, first of all, consequences. And
even inevitability.
Yeah, and death. So yeah.
He gave himself a timer. He didn't have to meet the Green Knight at his challenge at all, but he put a death clock on himself. He
also didn't need to behead him. He could have just...
Well, yeah, that is true. He took the dishonorable path, and now what happens?
Yeah, exactly. It is really great because you get to see what happens on the road to there, and it's a self-discovery thing, and also it's all about honor and different aspects of being an honorable person and knight, and chivalry, and the movie very much reminded me, Lotus, of a movie that we watched together, Stalker. It reminded me of Stalker.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Shoot 'em Up.
This is not... This movie has a couple funny moments, but it's really just to relieve you of the tension.
Yes. Stalker is very, very slow and very, very deliberate.
This is a very deliberate movie, and it's mostly about you feeling the oncoming dread of what's going to happen, and how laborious it is to get to the dread. And you are also kind of supposed to not the main character is very flawed.
And it makes sense. The whole point of the story is teaching him a lesson.
Exactly.
You're not even supposed to outright hate him, but it's you made a mistake, buddy. Yeah.
He's a normal person with normal faults.
Yeah, he made a stupid decision. It's just that this has huge consequences.
Yeah, and he knew what they were going to be. He just didn't believe them.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He thought he could cheat.
Yes.
This is why you don't do that.
Exactly. Especially when a demon is the one offering you these things.
Yeah, wasn't it like a wizard or something?
He's just a green knight. He's just, a green knight.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's a green ghastly knight. What do you think he's going to do? He's obviously magical.
Well, I don't. It's been a long time since I read it. I thought his whole thing was that he just had green armor. He's the Green Knight.
No, he's like ethereal and like.
Oh, okay.
Even in the original version, he was like ghastly. But in the movie, he's very obviously a demon.
Okay.
Or something to that effect. It's really good, but do not go in there expecting action. The action is few and far in between, and it's mostly about the journey and the vibe.
Yeah, and honestly, even in a lot of Arthurian stories, you'll occasionally have, and then they fought for hours, and their blood hit
it's like
painting
Shakespeare.
The floor. Yeah, there's your two sentences. They're not describing in intricate detail the fights. It's more about being a knight and getting to this point. It's like Legend of the Galactic Heroes. There are fights, but you can't hear them because classical music's being played over them. It's not really the point.
And also, a lot of the metaphor of the movie is shown to you and not explained. So you have to infer it. So it is not for the type of person... I like that kind of movie, but not everybody does. And
you have to be in the right mood.
Do not bring somebody to this movie that doesn't have the patience for that.
Yeah, and same for Stalker, by the way. Nobody's going to go, movie night, let's watch Stalker. That's a terrible idea. Yeah.
It is something that me and Lotus will watch together,
but even then, you got to be in the right mood for it.
Exactly.
If you're feeling jumpy or something, I gotta do something. Terrible movie to watch.
It's a good movie to watch late at night and kind of with a spooky atmosphere,
sort of. Yeah.
It's a downer movie too, so it's not this is about inevitability. It is absolutely about that. So, I really, really enjoyed it. I think it will be an all-time classic. The cinematography and directing were top-notch. I really recommend it, but there's only really a couple people that are recognizable in it, and even then, Cal Penn is the biggest name.
I'm okay with not recognizing anybody just so it doesn't take me out of the movie.
Yeah. There's nobody in there it's Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, remember me?
Yeah, it's not like that. And one last thing, breathe a sigh of relief for Bob Odenkirk, who we were very worried about at the beginning of the weekend. So we had heard that during the filming of his final season of Better Call Saul, that he had collapsed on set in Albuquerque or around Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it has come back that he is recovering and he's safe and he's okay. But for a while there, we didn't know what was going on and what had happened. He had a minor heart attack, and this is really a shame considering he's probably in the best shape of his life right now. Coming off of Nobody, where he had to buff up for that. He's a comedian, so he doesn't normally he's a good looking guy and takes care of himself, but he was never somebody who had definition, let's say, in his physique. And so it's a shame, He's apparently one of the most liked people in Hollywood. Everybody came out and was oh god, I hope he's okay. Kind of stuff, and he first came on the scene as a writer of SNL, and then later he was Mr. Show was his big sketch show with David Cross, who he still occasionally partners with. So they're still really good friends. But I absolutely love him. He elevates everything that he's in. He was even in the first season of Fargo, which was really great.
Who was he?
He was the police chief.
The bumbling police chief.
Yeah, he's actually,
I didn't even realize. Okay.
Yeah, he was in makeup. But he's also probably best known as Saul in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Saul Goodman is his name, in quotes. I'm not going to say anything more than that. But yeah, he is a wonderful character actor and comedian, and he was in Nobody recently, which was great. We talked about that in the show. I haven't had a chance to watch Better Call Saul. It's one of those things. It's just like I liked Breaking Bad so much. I don't even though I know this is good, I didn't even want something else. You know what I mean? But I will go back and watch it because I hear it's great on its own. So I'll go back to it, but it was just a shame that he had something like that happen to him. But that's all I have for this show. I thought this was going to be a short one, Lotus, but of course we went over time.
Yeah, way too long.
But this is what happens when we record at the beginning of the day rather than the end of the day.
Yeah, what a concept. We're both awake.
And that's the show for the week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast where we explore the humanity of pop culture. We're going to be going over some movies and shows that we just need to go back and watch. We haven't had a chance to. And finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much anything. How about you, Lotus?
Well, you could follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting on an exclusive exclusive live stream. I'm far too tired for this, even though it's early in the day. Getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
All right, that's just prime. We'll catch you on Thursday then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.